Welcome, and hopefully everyone's having a great day. Thank you for attending our webinar today. You'll learn a little more about Creative, and more specifically, how Revalize in our PLM solution can address some of your business challenges.
My name is Michael Allen. I'm the North American Sales Manager. I work for the author of Pro.File, Revalize software. Just to give you a quick background, so Revalize is a software company with technologies focused in the manufacturing design space. The portfolio that we have consists of several purpose-built industry-specific solutions, one of those being Pro.File. Pro.File has been around for over 35 years. Pro.File was actually acquired by Revalize back in 2021. We do have offices based in the US, as also in Europe. So we do have a global footprint that gives us the ability to service our multinational and global customer clientele base. Pro.File is CAD and ERP agnostic. So that does allow us to partner with other best-in-class solutions and industry-specific best-of-breed tools. As Bob said, Creative's been a partner for a very long time. The relationship actually predates the acquisition. So Creative has been the North American implementation partner for Pro.File, like I said, before the acquisition of Pro.File by Revalize. And we're excited to continue that relationship to keep servicing our mutual clients and solving their business challenges. So with that, I'll hand it off to Jacob.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. My name is Jacob West. I am the Director of PLM for Creative. As Michael had mentioned, Creative is partnered with Revalize to implement and service the Pro.File PLM product in North America. I have personally been working with the Pro.File product for over 12 years, and between myself and my team, we have implemented hundreds of implementations in North America, and we're excited to show you a little bit more about PLM today. To start with, I wanted to talk a little bit about what PLM is at a fundamental level. I'm not going to go into too many details about the direct implications of PLM, but I wanted to talk about the four fundamental features of PLM, which the primary one is being a document management solution. Document management solution enables you to store documents in a controlled way with revision control and number generation and storing metadata about those document records. In our PLM system, we give you all of those functionalities in a relational database structure with a user interface that allows you to easily navigate the system and find and search items that are stored. We also offer part and bill of material management alongside the document management so that you can really get a full product structure and manage all of those materials all in one place. We tie in business process management, which allows for you to specify workflows and processes by which that data should be created in a standardized way. And then we also offer suites of integrations with softwares that you'll see today, like Inventor and like Microsoft Office and like Epicor ERP, SAP, many different other ERP systems, and a whole variety of CAD solutions. So without going into any more detail on what PLM does, we're going to focus today's talk on managing technical documentation with PLM. And for that, I'll introduce Brian Becker, who's one of our consultants on the PLM side, who will take the rest of the demo from here.
All right, thanks, Jacob. Appreciate that. My name is Brian Becker. I'm with Creative PLM consultant, and been working with the Pro.File software for several years. And we put together a live demo here for you guys on this webinar to kind of guide you through a couple of use cases that I hope you'll find interesting. And please do put in any questions in the Q&A as I'm going through, and we'll answer those towards the end of the call. The topics here, just as a top level overview, we're going to discuss obviously PLM capability, but specifically into CAD integration we'll show some use cases with a few different options in CAD integration, as well as Microsoft Excel integration. And then we'll talk a little bit more about business processes, as well as other document types that can be managed in the PLM system. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And our first topic is going to be on the CAD integration. So like Jacob mentioned, Pro.File has many different CAD systems that it's integrated with. We integrate directly into the CAD interface. So you see here we have a Pro.File ribbon that's tied into the interface. This is Autodesk Inventor, but any number of the large mechanical CAD softwares and electrical CAD softwares will have this same kind of look and feel for the integration. And so this use case that we want to run through quick is, let's say we've got a new design that we're creating. We've modeled this jet engine component, and we want to save this from our local system into the PLM vault. And along with vaulting the CAD files, we want to actually create a bill of material with that as well. So what we can do, and just a basic functionality behind all of our CAD integrations, is we can see that the properties, and depending on what system you use, they have different terminology. And in Inventor, it's going to be iProperties. In SolidWorks, parameters. These values are what we use to tie together the CAD and PLM data. So we have a bidirectional integration where parameters or properties from CAD can be synced into PLM, and at the same time we can have PLM properties synced back to CAD. So that's kind of behind the scenes how this integration works. So if, let's say I've got this design ready to save in initially to the PLM system, I can go ahead and hit my save button. And what this will do is bring up the check-in wizard for my files. And one of the things that we can handle as well is, you see we have a list of existing components that the system has found. So some of these standard parts like bolts and nuts, common components or library parts, which would be shared between many different assemblies, can be managed as well. And so what this is telling me is it's picking up these files as already being saved into the PLM system. So we're going to be able to utilize these and not create unnecessary duplicates of these standard parts. So we'll hit OK, and the check-in wizard will come up. And this wizard gives us a kind of a graphical view of what our file structure looks like for both parts and documents. And so we kind of have a summary of every component in this assembly, and we can kind of scroll through this list. You can see a thumbnail of each component. The far left side of this screen, we want to see these green check marks because that's telling us that we have all of the data that we need mapped over. So there are required fields, of course, between CAD and PLM that need to be filled out. And so if I click on one of these and take a look at the actual part form, you can see that we have different fields that we're mapping over. So if I go up to the top level assembly, we can see that this description field is coming over. We have a classification, so a classification field can be brought over. This allows us to create a list of different component types, different classification types for your different parts, which then allows us to add in additional metadata for each classification. We also, you can see, are bringing over some weight properties and volume properties from the CAD models. If I go on to one of the subcomponents, we can also see that we are bringing over material information. So for example, this combustion ring is titanium, it has this part number and this quantity. you can see here that all of these parts currently do not have a part number, and we're going to utilize the PLM system to generate a part number for us. So this part number field will be auto-generated. In our out-of-the-box system, we have a 6-digit sequential number that gets used, but that can be adapted to any part numbering scheme that you may have. So it can support smart part numbering as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. And what we'll do here is this is going to begin the saving process. So what's going on here behind the scenes? We've got local files that are being saved up into the PLM vault, both from the part record side of things as well as the actual CAD files, which will be saved into the vault. So both documents and parts are going to be saved, and we'll have these components with their linking structure come over, and we'll see that this is a multi-level bill of materials. In addition to that, we'll have the preview files be generated for each one of these components, so that we can view a kind of a lightweight 3D model in the CAD or in the PLM system, so that actually people that don't have a CAD license will be able to take a kind of a lightweight 3D view of these files as well. So that's kind of what's going on here. This is just the initial save-in process to do this, and obviously, as you do revs of these parts and reopen these parts, you're not going to necessarily have as much loading going on. But the other thing that's going on here is after we created the part records and document records, they are getting locked by the system. So in the Pro.File world, lock and unlock function as a kind of a check-in and check-out. So when these files are locked, they are locked to my username, and this is just saying, okay, we're ready to release these out in terms of unlocking them, and that's what this window is telling me, asking me what I want to do. So it's asking me if I want to unlock these files, which I do want to do that. And so you can have a configuration for automatically locking files when you open them, so that if a different user is trying to open a file and try to modify it, they wouldn't be able to do that until you unlock that file on your username. So we've completed the check-in, and if we go over to the Pro.File system, we can view the structure of this assembly. So expand this up a little bit, we can see here's our part and document structure, and we've got our part components with the gear icons and the model files linked underneath each part record. So that's kind of the structure, sort of a parent-child structure. We can also go to the BOM view, which is going to show us a true bill of material multi-level view with level position quantity values. So you can see here when we were checking in that file that had the material stock to it, here is that titanium stock that got attached to it, and that material is linked underneath the part record in the BOM. And so you can see here this BOM view. There's different views that we can take for this BOM. These columns can be configured to show whatever data you'd like to see in your BOM. This is kind of the standard out of the box functionality here. So what this would do here, if we kind of just step back a second, we've created the initial bill of materials with the design files attached to them, and then what we're going to do from here is go through a release process. So currently the status of these components are at WIP, and that's work in progress. And if we go to our status change top down, we can see that we can control the release of both the parts and the documents in one screen here. We can select all parts and all documents, and then we can select where we want to have them move in the release process. So this would be the status network for parts, It's a very simple status network in the out-of-the-box system. We just have WIP, review, and released. When we're doing this status change top-down, we can select this review status, and we can go to this affected parts screen, and then we can see all of these components are going to be moved from WIP to review. Similar on the documents. So for these documents, these are going to be the CAD files. We'll select review on these, and we can see a list of all the CAD files that are going to be moved from WIP to released. And so just another quick note on statuses. The statuses can be configured so that, for example, if parts are in a WIP status, we can have permissions tied to that status. So maybe only design engineers would be able to see parts in a WIP status. And then, once they would reach a release status, then it would be able to be viewed by other groups in manufacturing or purchasing. And the other thing is, when we do a status change, we're able to have notifications sent out via email. So for example, on a part status change to review, we can have an email sent out to an individual or group of people to notify them that that status has changed. So I'm just going to hit done here, and then we're going to just move these to the review status, and we can see that be updated here in our tree, in our BOM, and then also in our structure view with all of our documents. Okay, so that's kind of our first use case, just saving in initial design components and then moving them through the release process. The other use case we wanted to cover with the CAD integration is, let's say we actually had a component that already exists in CAD, and we've released this out already into production, and this is maybe a template of a assembly that we use a lot, and we have a custom order that's coming in, and we need to sort of reuse the components that are common to this assembly, and we're just going to change one component and swap out one component to meet the needs of this customer for this custom order. So for this assembly, we have this ball screw shaft assembly. This is our component, and so this is a simple bill of material, but what we want to be able to do is show how we can do a reuse of this when we swap out a component. For example, this shaft here, we want to have a different length on this thread length. So we want to modify the thread length on this, but reuse the other components. So let's go ahead and do that. We can do our design change here quickly in CAD and just show how this would work. So again, these files are all released at the moment, so we're doing a change on a released component, and that's going to then bring us up the ability to make a new BOM from that. So I'm going to change the length of this thread to 50 millimeters, and we'll hit OK, and we'll have our new component here. And now what I can do with the CAD integration is I can utilize what's called managed copy. So managed copy allows me to take an existing BOM and then select the component that I want to swap out, or components, and create new part record for that component. So we can see here the system is telling me that this part here, this is the shaft that we modified, and it's picking up that this has been modified for me in this window. And also the top level assembly, we're going to make a new record for that as well. So we're going to create two new parts and then reuse these existing parts from the original assembly. So as we go through this, we can hit OK. The part numbering scheme that we have is going to take care of the new part name here, so it doesn't really matter what I put in this situation. I just used a -1, but this will be renumbered and renamed through our part numbering functionality. we can put in just a quick description. Maybe this is for a specific customer, maybe this is for Boeing, and on the actual shaft itself, we could put in, this is 50 millimeter length. So we'll have that information in our description. And now again, this will go ahead and create our new BOM for us and kind of run through the same process we just showed for the new part, but this will have two new components. We're going to unlock these files, and then we will be able to see the new bill of material that we just created. So here we go on the new file here, this rear ball screw shaft assembly Boeing. We can see that we have both on the part records and the CAD files, we have our new components here at a WIP status, and then we're reusing the components that were there previously. These are still at a release status. So that's just kind of a quick use case of how you can utilize managed copy to reuse existing part numbers and not create unnecessary part numbers in the system, and have a quicker way to generate your design files. Okay. So next we're going to shift gears to a different use case. This is going to be utilizing Microsoft Excel integration with Pro.File. And so we have integrations to all of the MS Office softwares, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote also. And the use case that we want to go through here is, let's say we are receiving a problem report from somebody on the shop floor, someone who doesn't have access to PLM. And maybe we received this through email and we have this Excel file stored locally on our system. What we can do is utilize the Excel integration to map these fields on this problem report over into a document form directly inside of PLM. So what we can do is we can map these cells on this problem report spreadsheet and populate the document record directly inside of PLM as an electronic form. So for this use case, we've got a problem report submitted by shop floor. We've got a normal priority on it. The summary of this is that we have poor surface finish on the combustion stage intake casing, and this was found in manufacturing. Basically, the issue that we're logging here is there was some poor surface finish found on this casing during manufacture. We do have the ability to put in a potential solution here where maybe the shop floor user was saying, okay, there's a grinding operation that needs to be looked at. Maybe there's some excessive tool wear. So just an example of how we can utilize this problem report form and create a document record easily in PLM. So again, similar to the CAD integrations, we have a Pro.File ribbon here in Excel, and we have basic functionality, saving, opening, new from template, things like that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and since this file is mapped, this Excel file has mapping set up, it's going to be able to bring this into Pro.File with pretty much one click. So I'm using the document type mapping here. This is a problem report document type, and all the data on that Excel form is coming over in these fields. So we have our submitted by, our priority, the problem summary, origination, description, and solution. So all of those fields are being mapped over, and I can go ahead and hit finish. And so when I'm completed there, I can close this out. It will save this and unlock this file. So again, just like the CAD integration, when I generate this file, it will lock it for me until I'm ready to close it and unlock it. And then if I go over to Pro.File, we'll be able to see the document record. So this would be the document form that we just saved in, all electronic form mapped from that Excel file. The other thing with this use case, this problem report that's coming from an external source, We also have the ability on the reports function here, the web report function, is we can display all of this electronic form data in a kind of an easy to view format, similar to what people might be used to for a traveler or something that would be a PDF that could be sent around as part of this problem report process. So this report view that you're seeing here, I can actually pull this up in a web browser, and then I have all of these fields mapped, again, with the ability then to potentially eliminate that Excel file altogether. So we can still utilize kind of a standard view that people like to see with this report, but have the data all be metadata inside of PLM. Okay, so let's say then this is our problem report for this issue. Maybe down the chain of this problem report processing, we actually receive an image of this issue from the inspection group. So what I can do is I can go into the file again. I can go to Edit, and we'll open this file back up in Excel. And what I can do is actually link a image from PLM directly into this file. So I can do link object, and I can go to the document search to browse for different document types that I might want to add into this document structure. And I can go to the search, and let's say I want to find a photo video document type. So I can go right on that document type search, and then we can find that that image that was brought over from the inspection group, and we can put that directly into the document. So this is a linked image. So if this gets updated, or if somebody puts some annotation or some red line on this, or wants to modify this in any way, it will be automatically updated whenever we view this file. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and save this document back to Pro.File, and we'll be able to see that this image is actually part of the document structure now. So if I go to the structure view, we can see here, this is the actual image file that's linked underneath the problem report. So that's another way that the integration can help us to manage linked images, and you can expand that out to maybe if it's a technical manual that has many images in their product images, or design images that would be updated over time. You can utilize this linking structure so that you don't have to go into that native document and manually update and cut and paste in their new images, and have to do all of that manual work. Okay, so the other thing that we wanted to just discuss quickly is when we talk about document types, they can have their own status networks. So if I go to the status network on this problem report, you can see that this is different than the part status network that we showed earlier. So more than just a WIP review release, we have the ability to have status networks that are configured specifically to kind of how a document will flow through a release process based on its document type. So a problem report will have its own status network that it uses. I can go to a different document type, maybe a specification. I can show you here. We have some of these. This list is a kind of a standard list of out-of-the-box document types that comes with the system, but these can all be configured and added based on your use cases. But if I go to the specification document type, and I go to its status network, I can see that that's different as well. And so we can have these unique status networks based on document type that'll give you kind of more control over your document release process as you need that to behave for different document types in your system. So the other kind of last thing I just wanted to show is we did have this image of this CAD file here. We showed some static images. I wanted to also show that for model files, we do have the ability to have 3D renderings in the system. So this is a kind of a lightweight file, 3D image of this shaft assembly that we were looking at when we did the managed copy. And within the Pro.File preview tab here, I can actually explode this out. I can kind of, see what these components are. I can hover over these and see the part name on these. And there is some lightweight measurement capabilities in here, but the main thing is I don't need to have a CAD seat to be able to view this, and I can view it in a lightweight form directly in the PLM system. Okay, so that is going to conclude the live demo portion of our webinar. And I would now like to open this up to Q&A. And so I'm going to go ahead and come to this slide and make this full screen for everyone. So I can, now I want to open it up to Q&A. So maybe, Jacob, did we get anything coming in on the Q&A side of things?
Yes, there was a question about drawing templates and whether there's model templates and drawing templates that are supported.
Okay. Yeah, so I know we showed mostly 3D models in this webinar, but yes, absolutely, drawing templates are supported. So 2D drawings with title block, bombs on drawings, revision blocks on drawings are all supported, where you can have those fields all mapped to PLM or CAD data. And so, yeah, we didn't show that in this webinar, but absolutely, that's a very common use case, and drawing templates are supported with the PLM integration.
And I'll also add that the mapping of attributes between the CAD system, whether that CAD system be Inventor like you saw here, or any of the other CAD systems that we support, and there's a whole list of them, or even the Office integrations, we map bidirectionally with those attributes, and that can be very useful when you're creating templates. So, for example, you can create templates for many of your different document types and have those templates published in a way that they're very easy to store into the system, even via just drag and drop, where that metadata gets recorded in such a way that everything becomes very easily searchable and linked to the appropriate part numbers that they refer to, so that you can have good visibility in a product structure in the structure view, but also from the bottom up. So looking at where used, you can go to a specific part number or document record in the system and find what's linked to it, and also what it's linked to in a very easy to use interface.
Okay. So did we have anything else come in, or any other questions? If anyone has any live ones, that's fine.
What kind of processes are supported with PLM?
Okay, so, yeah, so in terms of processes, really any business process that involves technical data that you want to manage in your system can be managed in PLM. So, for example, engineering change processes are commonly set up and used in PLM, and we do have an out-of-the-box engineering change process that comes with the system that you can adapt your process to, or start with that and modify that to meet your needs. Also, new product introduction, quality processes, even just design release or drawing release processes can be modeled or can be set up and executed in the PLM system as well. And the way that it works is we have a Microsoft Visio is how we set up a workflow, and there's a process designer add-in that is basically an integration into PLM, so that we can utilize the PLM database, user database, and map individual tasks to either users or groups in the PLM system, and you can publish those workflows and manage those in PLM. So that gives you kind of a good flexibility. You don't have to go into sort of any coding or anything like that. It's real easy to use interface through Visio, where you can set up the processes and then modify them going forward. And we do train you guys how to do that as well. So really the answer, any process that involves management of technical data is definitely possible to be set up in PLM.
So we have one question from John Atwood. How does this integrate with ERP? Can PLM drawings and files be opened directly from Epicor Kinetic? Yes, that's a great question. We do integrate directly with ERP with part attachments at the revision level. Those are PLM controlled, so the attachment that you see in Epicor Kinetic or in any ERP that we would integrate into, which again, we're ERP agnostic, so any ERP system that you might want to integrate into is possible to be done in the same type of way, where the actual document record still being managed by PLM is sent with a link so that that data can be accessed from Kinetic and can be downloaded and used in the job tracker if needed, and published that way. But the actual file is never stored in multiple places. It's always controlled within PLM, and the reason for that is document control. Really, it's possible for a part to exist and there be a new revision that was published in PLM, and you need to be aware that on the Kinetic side that a new revision of that drawing exists. And so we control that by sending a link to that record to Kinetic, and that link will always ensure that the latest version is published to the person who accesses that link, and all previous versions are available to the users who access that link as well. So that's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions? On-premise capability is synchronization to ERP real time. So it's a bidirectional synchronization with ERP. We generally, the scenario is you push parts from PLM to ERP to publish them. Sometimes there's metadata changes that happen at the part level on the ERP side after that publish that don't really necessitate any additional work on the PLM side other than to update metadata within PLM. And so the synchronization of metadata between PLM and ERP is, it can be configured to be real time. Generally, that's push data from PLM to ERP and then a synchronization on an interval basis for metadata coming from ERP back to PLM. But that's a great question. And then on-premise capability, we support on-premise, we support private hosting. So yes, generally speaking, on-premise is preferred for engineering purposes. The CAD files that we are used to managing can sometimes be quite large. Working with those CAD files in a cloud-based environment can and usually is a pretty decent challenge. We do support those implementations, but by and large, on-prem is desired for the flexibility with the parts. Good question. That's another good question. So how does Pro.File and Revalize differentiate from standard Epicor PLM? They don't. Revalize PLM and Pro.File is what we've shown you today is Epicor PLM. The only real difference is that Epicor PLM is a system that we implement that's pre-configured to integrate directly with Kinetic out of the box and doesn't require any additional setup for that integration. We have a turnkey implementation that is configured to integrate to most ERP systems right out of the box and fit most of the needs of the common denominator needs of most vault solutions that we are typically replacing. Thank you. Any additional questions? Okay. Part drawings and pictures controlled at the revision level. Yes, so parts have revision control. Document records have revision control separate from the parts. So each of those elements have their own independent document revision control. So yes, everything is controlled at the revision level. Permissions. So permissions are handled in PLM via some configuration. This is all configuration that's accessible to the customer too. It's not something that has to be set in stone once it's set. But those permissions are based on the status that the object is in, and the sets of permissions that a given user is allowed. And there's users grouping, and there's organization of the users within the system that allows you to dictate what those permissions are, and then control at the status level as well, so that you can make sure that even though you're an engineer, you only want a certain set of engineers to be able to see data that's already released. So we can control that at the individual status level as well. In restricted environments as well, we can control permissions even down to a user's given role within a project that data is associated with. So if there's a part that's in work in progress and an engineer has access to work on parts that are in work in progress, you can link that part to a project and make it to where only people who have roles within that project can actually even see those parts anymore. We do this commonly for restricted. Are there capabilities for contract manufacturer, for instance, BOM import from Excel or converted PDF from a non-standard format? Sure, yes, that's a fantastic question. So we do offer, as part of our out-of-the-box implementation, a utility that will allow you to take a Excel format bill of materials and import that data into PLM as a full bill of materials. It even allows you to control the formatting of that data so that you could actually bring documents, projects, and folders, and all kinds of different objects that the PLM system supports in, as well as a structure underneath a given product. So you could actually do a lot of very handy things with that and save templates of the way that you have those configured so that you can reuse that template for additional data that comes from that supplier, while still being able to create a different template for the format that a data from a different supplier. So yes, that's a great question. Converting PDFs, PDFs are generally going to be saved in as a reference material, and linking it, we do support bringing that in and linking that information to the appropriate bill of material component or part that's in the Excel sheet. And then I think from a non-standard format, I'm not exactly sure what you mean there, but I think if I can extrapolate a little bit, what I think you might be meaning is, do we support things like step files and IGES files and things like that are kind of neutral formats from a CAD perspective? And the answer to that is also yes. The different CAD systems treat those types of files differently from the integration standpoint. So it might be worth some discussion whether or not we would have you open those files directly and save them in directly, or open those files and then convert them to the format of the CAD system of your choosing, and then save that resulting file with the step file or whatever format file into PLM for tracking. That's a completely different discussion, but it's something that we're very comfortable with and familiar with. Good question. And I hope that was the answer you were looking for. What does PLM use to integrate with Kinetic? Is it still Service Connect? Yes, currently it still is Service Connect, using either the .NET APIs if you're still on the Epicor 10 platform, or if you're on the Kinetic platform, using REST APIs is preferred, and that is still currently done using Service Connect. So the answer to that is yes. I'd be happy to talk with you offline about the direction that things are moving to the cloud and what that implication is. But that's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And Jacob, happy to support that conversation offline again. We do have a roadmap item for this year as well. So happy to address that with the connection specifically to Epicor in this case.
Thank you. I didn't want to spill the beans, Michael, so. How does licensing work? So that's a good question too. And so the license model is based off of the your type of access to PLM, and whether that is going to be using the actual PLM client, or if you're going to be accessing the data from PLM tangentially using a third-party application, and the different ways that you access that. I'm happy to send you more information about the licensing structure if you reach out to us. And follow-up question on the BOM from Excel. Non-standard min, every customer's BOM in Excel has the fields needed in different columns and requires a unique template. Yes, I completely understand. So I was not correct when I was assuming that you meant neutral format like step, or you were meaning that the format that the data that comes in is different from supplier to supplier. And yes, that is also supported by the fact that the tool that we have for importing data from Excel format supports the ability to create a format from that tool that you can use for the supplier A, versus the format from the supplier B. You can create a separate format. And so in other words, you can have an Excel file and an import tool format file specified for each supplier and be able to import it, so long as the supplier sends you the data the same format each time. The supplier A sends you the data that they send you in the same way each time. You can create a template for supplier A within the import tool and be able to take any BOM that they send in that template into PLM quickly. You just have to create the template one time. Same for supplier B. If they send you in a different way, you create a template for supplier B, and then you have that template and you can read. I hope that answered the question this time, and thank you for clarifying that. Certainly, a template can be created for each import if you would like to do it that way. The intent with the creating the import template is to save a specific format in a specific way so that you can repeat that way without having to create the template the second time, but you certainly can. Any additional questions before we wrap this up? I think we're right at about time, and I want to be sensitive to everybody's time for the day. And we are also happy to take follow-up questions if you reach out to us, and we can set up a private conversation with anybody that would like. Can import be custom each time without template? It can be, yes, absolutely. It would just, each data point that you want to map in the Excel file, you would have to explicitly point to where you want that data point to go to in the PLM system for each import. The template's designed to save you that time. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for their time. Bob, is there anything you want to say to wrap us up here?
I was just going to say thank you, everyone, for your time. Look forward to your feedback, and feel free to reach out if you have any other PLM questions. Thanks, everyone.